Good morning, fellow divine beings. This is Tuesday morning, and we're going through a mindset transformation. So, the question, because we always have a question, that's how do you respond? How do you respond? So, I saw a quote, and this quote is from an old Chinese proverb. It was also cited by Martin Luther King. Check this out. You cannot keep the birds from flying over your head, but you can keep them from building a nest in your hair. Good thing I got my hair cut, not a lot of room for nests here. So you can't always prevent negative thoughts from entering your mind. Hey, we are divine beings, yet we are human. Hey, we do have thoughts that run through our mind, and it's pretty easy in the world today to see a bunch of negativity or go through a bunch of challenges. It's all around us, it's everywhere we look, but we do have the power to not let that negativity or challenges. See, this is like my grandmother talking to me. It's Italian. To not let it take root in your mind. That's when it becomes a problem, because if you allow it to take root in your mind, all those negative emotions are going to break you down and make you sick. So this morning when I got up, after I got up, I belong to Facebook groups called Spiritual Awakening, and this woman had a post, and it says, I have stage 4 cancer, and I hear that emotional issues in your body can make you sick. I'm asking for help. It's like, oh my God, what a way to start the day, right? A woman is in stage 4 cancer, and all she wants to do is live. And hey, maybe there's something emotionally that can help her. Immediately, I thought it's forgiveness. There's something she needs to let go of, right? And maybe it's physical, I don't know, but that's certainly the most powerful tool. So here we are, and we think we have a good life. Yeah, we have challenges, and there's people out there that have challenges that are so much bigger than we are. But when we harbor these negative thoughts, when we put our identity out in the world, especially in today's world, man, where there's so much divisiveness, it can break us down, make us sick, weaken us at our knees, hurt our low back, right? And literally, physically, emotionally, spiritually break us down. So on one hand, there's so much division. Yet on the other hand, it was a holiday weekend. I live near the beach in Newport Beach, so I go down to the beach. There's so many people down there because we're in a heat wave, man. It's hot out inland in the desert in California. So there's literally thousands of people. There's people everywhere. But what did I see? First of all, down at the beach, nobody has a mask on. I saw one mask. You're in such a healthy environment. And people are happy. They're smiling. I said hi and acknowledged so many people, and to see their big smiles out in the sun, enjoying the beach, and most importantly, being with their families, seeing families exchange loves and kids playing with their friends and brothers and sisters and parents hugging their kids. Like, it was so amazing. It was heartwarming. And then on the other hand, Saturday I was at a rally in Newport Beach to open up California, and I met a gentleman. His name is Craig Sawyer, and he is a retired Navy SEAL, been working after he was a Navy SEAL, been in the government, doing all kinds of things. He started a group called Veterans for Child Rescue, and I met him at that rally. And what he does is he has a SEAL team, and they go arrest pedophiles. They go find those kidnapped children, and they rescue children. And it's like, man, on one hand, we're surrounded by all this love, and on the other hand, you have a man and his team so committed to getting rid of evil, to rescuing and restoring families. And I told him, like, wow, what an intense job. Like, there's so much pain and anguish, yet that's got to be so fulfilling when you reunite a child with their parents. And it's so intense. And he was a father. A 17-year-old girl got kidnapped and raped. Now imagine, this guy is a high-level SEAL sniper. The fact that he goes and finds his daughter, pulls her out, and then convicts the felon. So, on one hand, there's so much opportunity for love, and on the other hand, there can be so much pain. So what do we focus on? And this can be so liberating when we're immersed in the struggle, that we can consciously shift our perspective and actually find opportunity. Because even in this world of challenges, the truth always prevails. God always comes through. The universal law of love. and unity is so much bigger than any evil, than any other force that we know. Do you put your faith in that opportunity? And really, there's just one thing. There's one thing that's really the problem, and that's coming back to, hey, the birds can fly over our head, but are you allowing them to build a nest? So how do you not build a nest? And this is, in my opinion, the number one problem out there today. And the number one problem is also the number one solution. Are you ready for this? And what is that? Responsibility. That's it. If we don't take our lives into our own hands, then we're going to fall prey. That's P-E-R-E-Y. We're going to fall prey to others. And that's it. Tony Robbins' famous quote, responsibility gives you ability to respond. So how do you respond? You see the birds flying over your head. Are you allowing them to build a nest? Because if they're building a nest, they're making you sick in that nest and stress, which is so easy to focus on. But do you take responsibility and seek opportunity? So I was at Whole Foods last week, and I don't wear a mask, not because I'm not anti-mask. I'm anti-deception. And I've studied the science, and I know what's going on, right? And I'm not going to worship the golden calf. I don't even need to go in how many studies show they're ineffective against viruses. We could go on and on and on, and I'm not getting into that. But there's this woman, I'm putting my stuff on the little conveyor belt, and there's a woman, and I didn't even notice, but she's like, get away from me, step back. And I look down, I'm standing on the 6-foot dot, and I told her, I'm over 6 feet away from you. She runs and jumps back. Of course, her whole face is covered. She's got gloves on. It's like 105 degrees outside. There's no way, there is totally physiologically impossible that this woman could get sick, especially from me. And so she's 12 feet away, yelling at me. People are looking, and I'm just standing there, and I had so much compassion. To me, and so I said, you don't know, so you haven't studied anything on the virus. Because to me, that's no responsibility. Who are you believing? And I get it, man. CDC said, hey, we're down to 6% that died totally from COVID. So if you have a comorbidity, then guard yourself. But know that I can't get you sick. I have a brother-in-law that he has diabetes. So they limit themselves. I have an 83-year-old mother and an 88-year-old father, and they watch the news, and they want to limit themselves, and that's fine. But they don't dog on other people. And so to me, that's no responsibility. If you're getting your information from the television and people say, well, let's not make this political. Well, first of all, I don't know how we can't, but if we don't make it political, then what about capital? Okay, because somebody is gaining, there's a lot of people that are gaining financially. So if you're watching the television, and that's the only information, that's your only responsibility, that's why you live in fear. That's why this woman is yelling at me. That's why 2 weeks ago in Oakland, I step up to go in the gym, and a gentleman steps back, and I said, wow, have you studied anything on the virus? And his answer was, I'm not a doctor. And the thing is, I'm not hurt by these people. I feel sad. I feel sad that people don't take responsibility. I'm like, yeah, but you're a human being. If you're going to choose to live in fear, then you're going to choose to get sick. That has nothing to do with the virus. It's allowing the birds to build a nest in your hair. And to me, I think it's sad. So we choose to take responsibility for our health. Now, the CDC is actually taking responsibility. Robert Redfield, the director of the CDC, publicly announced that now the suicide and drug overdose rate in high school students alone has now exceeded COVID deaths. And now, what do you see? And even the CDC says, oops, that whole lockdown, no school, I think that was a mistake. Well, that's after the fact. Okay, because the science already showed kids are not a means of transmission. Now the suicide rate is so bad. I have 2 people that I know, 2 moms, that they're very concerned. I did a clearing on somebody yesterday that she's so worried her son is going to commit suicide that she's so stressed. She's like, I need a clearing. I need to know how to handle this with my son. And so here's the challenge. So are the birds flying over you, or are they creating a nest? Now here's responsibility in Orange County. The County Board of Education. See, in Orange County where I live, people go to the Board of Supervisors. The general public goes to the County Board of Education, and what do? They say, we're not standing for this. We know what's really going on, and you have responsibility for this. There's nothing that shows that kids are a means of transmission. In Europe, there's all kinds of schools that are open, and everything's back to normal. Why is that in America? So what does the County Board of Education do? They have a lawsuit against Governor Newsom that has already passed in the California State Supreme Court to sue Governor Newsom. Well, that's the county, because what's the responsibility? Because the general public is saying, we're not doing this. We have rights. We've done our homework. See, that's responsibility. You have the power. What responsibility? We're not going to sit back and be victims. We can stand up and say, not only do we have rights, but we know the truth. And God prevails. And we are not going to have these situations where teenage kids want to commit suicide. Right? We're not going to put our children in mass. You know, I was at the mall yesterday and I saw a father walking with his two young children. There's a boy who's probably about 6 and a girl that was probably about 8 or 9. And their whole face are covered with masks. We're outside on a windy day. And it's like, oh my God, the compassion. How are your kids being raised? And here's a father that cares but hasn't done his homework. He's not paying attention, because children are also the most sensitive to oxygen deprivation. And I look at these kids and I'm like, what is that life like for a child that becomes isolated and submitted? Where's our responsibility? So the question is, here's another one. Do you support your local churches? Are your local churches open? Because First Amendment, the right to practice your religion, it is against the Constitution. Do you support your churches? Do you still pray and worship? Have your habits changed? Do you call your pastor, or do you go to your synagogue? Do you encourage people to stand up for their right to their spirituality? Because I think this is the number one biggest problem. So are you standing up for your religious freedoms? So really here this is. You know, when we see opportunity is not always easy. Opportunity doesn't mean you're going to be liked. Hey, making these TMTs and these videos, I've lost a couple hundred friends on Facebook, but you know what? We've gained a whole lot more that now are like-minded, and we build each other, we come together. So here's four things. What's one thing that you can do for the health? Take responsibility for the health of you and your family today. What's one thing you can do? Number 2, what's one thing you can do for your spiritual health? Because the birds aren't going to go away, but your spiritual health is how they don't build a nest. Your physical health is how they don't build a nest. Number 3, what's one thing you can do to help someone else who has built a nest? And can you help them clear that out? Because I guarantee they're probably getting sick. And then number 4, on September 28th through the 30th, we're doing a You Are More Powerful live on the page, You Are More Powerful Than You Think. It's called Stand Strong and Confident in a World That Can Knock You Down. So if you haven't gone to You Are More Powerful Than You Think, register for that, answer the questions on the survey, be involved in that live. It will be taped, but stay in there. Let's get our spiritual strength. Let's take responsibility. Let's become a leader, minimally with ourselves, then with our family, then with the people around us. Let's take responsibility, because the truth of our divinity always prevails. The question is, are you conscious of it? The next question is, do you feel inspired to make a bigger difference? This is your sole purpose. So go to You're More Powerful Than You Think page, like that page, let other people know about it. If you think this can make a difference in your perspective, go from the nest to birds to even clearing the birds and finding opportunity, then please share this on your timeline and share it around the world. Okay, love you guys. Thanks. See you next week.